Welcome to a special edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where I'm going to be taking on a few more pencil puzzles. I realised I've got out of the habit of doing these. In fact, looking at the date on the screen, the last pencil puzzle I solved from the Discord channel was on the 29th of November. That is over a month ago. So I need to get cracking with these. So let's have a look at this. Tyrgannus's Herugolf. Well, I like golf, but I don't know what Herugolf is, or Herugolf. Rules. Move the circles vertically or horizontally. It looks like we've got an example beneath, so let's read the rules and then we'll look at the example. Move the circles vertically or horizontally at least once each, so that each circle ends up stopping on an H, brackets hole. A ball can go in a hole, or bit in an H, with potential moves still available, as long as it lands at the end of a full move. A circle's first move must be in a straight line of the number of cells indicated by the number inside it, and each successive move must be one cell shorter than the previous. Circles' paths may not cross themselves each other circles or other circles' starting points. They also may not pass over an H without stopping on it, and may not even stop on a cell with water, but can pass over it. Seems like a lot, but it's intuitive once you play around with it. Good grief, that sounds so complicated. Let's have a look at the example here. So this is the real puzzle on the left. This is the example puzzle. So we've got some H's, and are these the balls that you have to get into the holes then? Why is there a 0 there? I don't understand this at all. 1. Oh, I see. So the 1 has gone right one square and become a 0. So you have to reduce the numbers and end up on the H's. Right, so this 4 looks like it goes 4 to the left, 3 up, 2 to the right, where it finishes on a hole. Oh, I see, but it could have gone one more. And then this 4 sort of goes 4 to the right, down 3, across 2 and up 1. Oh, good grief. Okay, well, I'm going to be useless at this. Let's, I might have to play around with the screen size here as well. Let's see. Yes, okay, so we're going to have to move this over. Let me just try and get this into approximately the right place. What's this loaded it up in? Google Chrome. Okay. So, sorry about this. Let me try and make it so that it's going to be a sensible size. Something like that, maybe. Okay, I can't restart the clock, but never mind. Someone will tell me what time I get. So let's go. There's a 6 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, actually, that 6 can't go there, because then its next move will be 5, and it will go through an H, and I think it said the rules said it can't do that, so it must go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, presumably. Now it's got 4 to go. It can't go down. I suppose it could go across again, could it? Oh no, if it goes across again, that 5 can't do anything. So now this must go up. I've really no idea what I'm doing here. I think this must now go that way. It's still not 2, and then it must. So that one hits that one. That one hits that one. I've actually got something done here. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that one could hit that one or that one by going 2 and 1. The 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. I see. That must do that. That must do that, and now if I... Oh no, we've got to get this hole. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. I'm actually getting this done, I think. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1. Yes. Okay, well, I actually got that done. I actually agree with Tyrgannus. That wasn't as bad as I was expecting. I didn't really feel I understood the rules when I started that. And I'm not sure what more there is to say about it. You basically just have to sort of fiddle around the grid and make it work. Right, I think let's move swiftly on. I've got nothing more to say about that. I was just reading Hard I Defend. Who on earth is that? They all change their names all the time, and I don't know what their names are. But what puzzle is this? Let's ask that. It is called Cojun? Never heard of it. Place a number into each cell so that each region contains the numbers 1 to n with no repeats, where n is the number of cells in the region. That makes sense, I understand that. Numbers of the same value may not touch one another orthogonally. Where two numbers within a region are stacked vertically, the number on top must always be larger. Good grief. Okay, let's have a look at the example. Okay, yeah. Okay, so I can see, for example, in this top right region, it's a 2 by 2 region, and it's got to have a 4 in it, so the 4 must be in the top row, because if it was in the bottom row, you'd have to put a lower number above it. Oh, and we've got to make sure there's no orthogonally connected similar digits. Is that what it said? Yes, okay. Okay, I sort of understand this one. Let's have a look and see if we can do this. Puzzlink and Pemper. I'll try Puzzlink first. I've got to move it about again. Something like that. I'll resize it later when I'm editing. Okay, let's have a go. So, where do we start here? We could put... Oh, okay, a domino region must be a 2-1 region with the 2 on top. I can understand that. Now the 2 must go in there. The 2 must be on top of a 1, not a 3. Okay. Now the 1 in this region can't go up and can't go next to a 1, so that must be a 1. That can't be a 2. I don't know about the 2, I don't think. But sure, oh, I could hide 4 here. I'm getting confused. Oh, where does 1 go in that region? It must go there, so that must be 4, 3, 2. So now 4 can't go at the top of that's clever. 4 can't go at the top of that region, so that region's finished. Now, I think 1 can go in one of 2 places. Oh, but 5 can't go at the top. So you can't hide 5. You must hide 5 under the 6, and then 1, and then 2, and then 4, I think. I might be wrong. 1 and 2 must go in there. 1 must go here. 1 must go here. 2 must go here. 1 can't go on the top row of 2 by 2. We established that from the example. So 2 must go 3. I think that's all forced. 1 in this region must go here. I'm actually doing okay at... Oh, 1 can't go at the bottom, so 1 must hide in the side, and therefore the rest of that must do that. 1 must go here. So it can't go there, so 1 must go here, and that must be 4, 3, 2. 3 and 2. 1. So where does 2 go in this region? It can't go higher than that, so I think it must do that. Oh, I see, and the 4 and the 5 get resolved. 3 and the 2 get resolved. This region needs to have a 3 in it. So the 3 can't, the 3 must hide it next to the 2, and the rest of it must be 6, 5, 4. 2 in this region can't go there. Sure, no, there aren't 2 digits lower than it, so it must go here. So the 1 must go here, and we must go 5, 4, 3. I did it. Okay, I sort of understood that one. Not a very good time, I suspect, but yeah, that's a very interesting little puzzle. Let's just erase the answer. I think there are obviously some gimmies that were nothing clever there. But the whole trick seemed to be about realizing that once you can't put a 1, for example, here in this dogleg, you have to put it there, because if you put it anywhere higher than that, you're going to have to put a lower number beneath it, and there's no lower number available. So again here, exactly the same with this p pentomino. Where does the 1 go in it? We can't put it here because there's no lower number. Can't put it here, there's no lower number. We can't put it here, it's touching its friend. So it must go there, and then the remaining digits just have to be stacked like a thermo in Sudoku, so they have to go 4, 3, 2. And that's all I did throughout that whole puzzle. Really cool, actually. I quite enjoyed that. Who was that? Oh, we don't know. Hard I defend. I've got no idea who that. Can I guess? Is this some sort of crossword clue? H-I. Who are the other setters? Jovial, Shy, Freddie. Oh, Freddie Hand. I defend. I don't understand why that's... It could be Freddie Hand, I'm not sure. Eric Fox. Oh, U-turns. I've never heard of any of these puzzles. It's really strange. You'd think, as somebody who sort of represented the UK in the World Puzzle Championship, I would have heard of some puzzles, but none of these are familiar to me. Draw a non-intersecting path through the centres of some cells, which passes through every white cell and no black cells. Okay, grey circles mark the ends of the path. Between each pair of circles the path uses, the path must turn exactly twice, and both turns must be in the same direction. What? Okay, let's look at the example. No, it's called U-turns. Oh, presumably because these form U's, do they? So it starts on a grey square. It must centres of some cells, so that's why it doesn't use all the cells. So we've got to connect white cells together with a sort of U-turn between them. Oh, and there's a U-turn between the grey and the white as well, and the black cells need to be totally avoided. Well, I think we're going to be learning about this as we go along. Sorry, brief pause there. I'm about to get called for my dinner, so I think I'm going to try this one, but I think then I'll have to pause the video. I don't want these videos to be too long either. So, but anyway, they need to be longer than 12 minutes. So let's just click this and see how we go. Oh, hang on a minute. That might be... I'll have to resize this, I think, at some point. I'll try and leave it like that. So we've got to go, right, grey. Right, grey. We mustn't run into the black cells, must we? And we must make U-turns. So I don't think we can go up there. That might be wrong. We need to go U-turns, so how do we do this? We can't just go straight from one to the other. Can I right click? I can right click. That must be a corner, mustn't it? Because, and now, oh, I see, I can go U-turns like that. I can't go down there. That wouldn't work. And I can't go left there. Oh, so that's another corner, I think. Now that must do that, and now that could turn up, and that would be a U-turn, so it must do that. Now, does it therefore have to go to that one? And if it does it have to do that? That's the question I'm wondering. I'm not sure. That can't turn up there. Oh, I see. Right, so that's got to do this. Oh, and now I've broken the puzzle, have I? I have a feeling I've broken this. I'm not sure. Can that do... Oh, maybe that can do that, and then that can go up. But now it has to hit... Yeah, that might work, actually. This is very, very peculiar. And then I can make that work like that. No, I don't like that. Actually, hang on a sec. How am I going to get this one included in the loop? I could do that, I suppose, and then that. Does that work? Maybe that's how I do it. And then that could do that, and that could do that. Good grief. Okay, I got that done, but I feel very, very unsure about what I just did then. Let's delete everything and revisit this, and let's actually do it slowly rather than quickly and think about what we're doing. So, while the loop starts, before it gets to a white dot, it must turn twice in the same direction. So this, once it's going this way, is going to have to do something like that. That I can see, but the question is, I think, that we have at the start is we don't know where it does that. So we don't know whether it hits this one, or this one. I might be wrong about whether we can tell that. Maybe we can, because, yeah, in fact, let's think about the loop must visit this. This is effectively a corner, isn't it? So it must do that. And then it can't go in there, and if it turns down, it's isolated, and yeah, because that's an S-shaped wiggle. That's more than 2 turns. So we could have told that. I could have started like that, but then this one can do that, which is what it ends up doing, or presumably something like that, maybe. So we've got to make sure we include 2 right angles before the next junction. Now I started here and I moved this one left, and then I said, and I think it is true, that this can't turn up, and that's because if it makes a right-hand turn, it must make a second right-hand turn before it hits a white dot, and then it must hit a dot, a white circle, and it can't. There would be none available. So I think it was correct to extend this way. And now it can't turn here because a right-hand turn would take it into a black dot, so it must go further. That all looks sensible. Now, there must be, oh, that is dinner. Right, I'm just going to quickly finish this and then I'll pause it. So then this one, that is a corner, isn't it? Because it can't go straight to there, but there's no U-turn between those 2 white dots. So that's a corner. Now neither of these can turn down, making that a corner. So that actually feels very reasonable, that logic. This must now turn, and now its next turn, because it's just made, if we're travelling down the loop this way and turning left effectively, we must turn left again into a circle. So that's forced. That is forced. Now, I'm slightly unsure about whether that's forced. It might be, you know. Because if this extends and then turns, we can never actually, we can't do that because it's turned left and then right twice. That does not work. Yeah, it's a strange puzzle, isn't it? It's a strange puzzle. Now that loop segment is forced. That turning up would be a right, then a left turn, so it cannot connect here, so it must do this. That all feels correct. That must turn up. Now it can't turn. It's turned right, so it must turn right again and hit something, which forces this. That's a corner. Now, yeah, and now that turning left would then be a left and then a left turn and then a right turn. That's not going to work, so it must go there and there. That's forced. So I actually got quite an intuitive grip on this, I think. That's forced. And it's just these last 2 where I hypothesise that it must do this. And I think the reason it must do that is that if it doesn't, it now has to turn twice in the same direction. It can never hit another, it can never hit another circle, so it must do that. So it's sort of a bit of visualisation allowed me to finish that off. What an interesting puzzle. Very cool. Anyway, I'll pause now and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I'm fed and watered. Let's have a look at the next puzzle, which is by Shy. And we have to do a puzzle called Vama or Varma. I've never heard of this one either. Let's look at the rules. We've got to shade some cells such that every row, column and outline region contains exactly 2 shaded cells, and all shaded cells in the grid form one connected network orthogonally or diagonally. So it's like Star Battle, except that the shaded cells we put in actually do have to touch each other. That's what it sounds like. We've got an example. So I can see the shaded cells here are all touching each other, some of them diagonally, and there do seem to be 2 of them in every row and column. I'm not sure about regions actually. It's a little bit hard to see those. And let's see what we've got to do in terms of time here. 240 will get me a sloth. 740 gets us a quick crab. I don't know why there's such a massive difference there. Maybe this is a puzzle you either get or you don't. Anyway, let's have a look. We've got to click this, and that's not actually in a bad position. Why does it say I've had 28 seconds at it? I've only just opened it. That's ridiculous. Okay, well anyway, let's have a go. So, top row. That's a stripe. So that must have 2 stars or 2 shaded cells in it. So you can't have any more shaded cells. So those are shaded, and that finishes off row 2. That I can see. Now everything's connected. So those 2 must be where the stars go in the top row to connect to this one. Otherwise they can't connect to anything. Okay, now I'm stuck. I suppose the 2 ones in this region must be there so that we can actually green in all of those. And now there's going to be 2 in that region there. That's lovely. So we get loads of green stripes. That one must connect to its friend, so that's forced. Right, okay, now look at this sort of backward piece-shaped region. That's got to have 2 stars in it. And columns, however big this is, columns 9 and 10 have 4 stars altogether, so there can't be stars in any of those positions. So, what does that mean? I don't know. Yeah, hang on. Am I wrong about that? Yeah, no, I'm not wrong about that. If I put a star there, I have to green in all those, and now this P region is isolated completely. So I don't think there can be. I think there must be a star here. Now that finishes off that column. Now my 2 stars in that region must be there. This is very clever actually, isn't it? Now those are finished. Now the P region's stars must connect through this position, so that must be a star. That finishes off that column. Oh, good grief, right. Now look at the top right of the grid. That must connect to the bottom left of the grid via this sort of massive C here. So there must be a star in one of those 2 positions to connect up. So I don't think these can be stars. I don't think that can be a star. That must be a star. Oh, in fact I've got 2 stars in that column, so it must be this one. Now I can only put 1 star in that string. Yeah, okay, so this can't be a star now, or I'm either going to create a 3rd star in the row or a 3rd star in the column, so that's green. That means that's a star. This is quality. That finishes that row, so there must now be one. There must be one there, so that's not one. Oh, bobbins, I've broken this. I've just realised I've not put a... Oh, can I put a 2nd star here? I have not put a 2nd star in the massive region. Maybe it goes there then. That rules those out. There must be a star here. That region's got 2 more stars to come in, so that's forced. And now that must connect there, otherwise I've broken. This can't connect up, so there must be a star here. 1 more star. That's all finished actually. 1 in one of these 2 squares. Ah, look, that's got to be a star, because otherwise I'm going to have 2 stars or 3 stars altogether in the bottom row, so that's a star. Oh, that's finished. That's a star. That's finished, and that's a star. Wow, that's a seriously clever puzzle. That is next level shy. I loved that. I'd love to do more of these. I've never heard of this, but that is really clever stuff. Let's actually just erase problem. Can we just erase it? Right. Let's try and think about this slowly. And I think what Shy has done is basically to create a sort of connectivity problem between the whole of the top right of the grid and this bottom left region. And we have to connect through this massive region here. And that's the whole key to the puzzle. So row 1, that is, I think, the obvious place to start. There must be 2 stars in there, so no stars here. So that forces 2 stars, which finishes row 2. Let's see if we can understand how to finish this at speed. Now, what do we do next? Now there must be 2 stars in those 3 cells, so that forces that string. Now this star must connect to its friends. It can only do that through that cell. I keep wanting to ring these with greens to reflect like they were Star Battle stars, but they're obviously not. Yeah, okay, and now in the final 2 columns we can count stars. We've got 1 here, 1 here. There's going to be 2 more in the P region, so there can't be any others. Those 2 must go in to connect to this V region, so that's sensible logic. Yeah, and then it's very difficult to see this, I think, quickly. I don't know how quickly I saw this in real time, but that position is impossible because it isolates the P by forcing a whole string of greens beneath it, and that P cannot connect to anything now. So that's not a possible star position, this one. So that's green, that's a star, that finishes that column. Now those two stars are forced, that's forced, and that's an important green string, I think, because now you can see how do we connect the P region only through this cell. But how do we connect the top right to the bottom left? There must be a star in one of those to do that. So the rest of this row is out. There's already two stars there, so that's forced, that's forced. This is beautiful, so clever. That, in fact, that column's forced, that's forced. Yeah, and then there's some lovely logic here. We can't have more than one star in that string, otherwise there'll be 3 stars in the row. And we can't have more than one star in this string, or there's more than 3 stars in the column. That takes this out, forcing that in, completing that row. There must be one here, so there's one here, and then we need a second star in the enormous region. That's where I thought I'd broken it. That goes here, finishing this column, placing 2 here, finishing that row. That's got to be in, otherwise that's not connecting to anything. This whole top right still hasn't connected properly to the bottom left, so that forces this, which finishes those off. We can only have 1 star in this domino, and 1 star in this domino, and 1 star in this domino. So that's actually all utterly forced, and there it's done again. That's absolute quality. That's my favourite so far, actually. Really, really amazing puzzle. Right, now let's have a look and do another one. I don't want this video to be too long today, so let's see if we've got anything. What's that doing? Double ping. Oh, right, that's just a sort of compendium of all the puzzles, I think, for November. Jovial. A ring. I've not done any of these puzzles before. A ring puzzle. Draw rectangular loops through the centres of empty cells so that every empty cell gets used. The sides of different rectangles may intersect each other, but not turn at their intersection or otherwise overlap. Hang on, let me just read that again. Draw rectangular loops through the centres of empty cells. Every empty cell gets used. The sides of different rectangles may intersect but not turn at their intersection or otherwise overlap. I'm not sure I understand that bit very well. Oh, right, so we've got to fill the grid with rectangles. Oh, that's what it means. So you can cut a side, but you can't have, you can't run 2 rectangles along the same edge. How weird. Okay, let's, oh, for goodness sake, 1:45, 6 minutes. We'll be doing well if we get it done that quickly. Let's have a go. It's nearly in the right place. Let me just shift it down slightly and have a go. So we've got to get to every cell here, so that must do something like that, I think. I'm doing this very much by way of really intuition at the moment. I am not at all sure this is correct, but I'm going to keep going and we'll see in a minute whether or not I've broken it already. How do you get to that cell? You must do that, mustn't you? And then that, so I think you've got to do something like this. How do you get to this cell? Maybe like that. Why are these the same colour? I don't understand. How do you get to that square? I see. I think you've got to look for corners here. Yeah, if you find corners, they're quite powerful. Something like, oh, have I broken it? No, maybe if I close that off. Oh, and now it's getting horrible. This has got to maybe come right across the grid. I'm not at all sure. Now I can see problems everywhere. I want to close this off, to be honest. Although maybe I close it off there and then run that one up. I'm not sure. Oh dear. Oh dear. This is all going Pete Tong. Maybe that, actually. So then this has to come up to there maybe. That's got to go all the way up to the top. That must close off. Oh, good grief. Right, okay, that's completely lucky. What an interesting puzzle. So I'm not sure how much I'm going to be able to tell you about this. I'll explain what I did there in terms of thinking. So my thinking was entirely driven off the fact that I need to fill every white cell with a rectangle. So, you know, every time you see a corner, you can just draw in rectangular shapes. So that rectangle, I think, is utterly forced just by the fact that we've got to visit every cell. Now, I was tempted here to do that, but I could see there was a problem regarding, don't forget this cell here is a corner now. You've got to visit it, so you've got to put something in like this, but now this won't be a rectangle, so we've got to sort of force this upwards. So I think that's forced. I can now see that. That must continue. That must continue. Now this is a corner, so that's forced, that's forced, that's forced. That's not a corner, so we can't fill that in. But what does this do now? If it comes this way, it's going to overlap when we turn. So it must just do that. And now, once it's done that, this one can't stop, so it must continue. And then every time we overlap with something else, we're sort of forcing this extension. It's very interesting, actually. That's got to be a corner. So that forces that, that forces that, that forces that. This is lovely. Now, yeah, and this is the key. I think this corner is the key, because when I make this corner cell, remember, I can't now run the rectangle overlapping with anything else. So it's only got one available cell. It must do that. That's absolutely forced. Oh, although I've done that, I'm now thinking maybe I haven't understood the. No, that's okay. That's okay. So that's all forced. And how do you get to that cell? I think the only way is like that, and like that in there. Oh, I think that's the same answer as before. I did it logically the same way. So yeah, the way to do that is just think about corners. Very interesting puzzle. Ring, ring. Never done that in my life before. Tyrgannus with another puzzle. What does that say? Supersized Saturday. Hang on, let's just launch this and see if it's how big it is. Oh no, that's not going to fit in my... Right, okay, we might have to call it a day here and we'll revisit this. Maybe I'll do this for patrons or something straight after I close this video, because this is not going to fit in my screen. So I'm going to have to totally rejig all the editing. So this is not going to be a good one to start. So I think we'll finish there. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments if you want to see more of these videos. I really enjoy making them, but I'm not sure whether you guys really want to see this sort of content. I really hope so. But anyway, bye for now. We'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.